Hey guys, it's Eric here at Farpoint Farms. Today I'm going to be showing you one of the more aggravating tasks that there is when it comes to riding mowers and garden tractors. That's installing tire chains. Yeah, it's a nice sunny day and I've got a flannel on, but it won't be but about 2 or 3 weeks and we'll get our first good solid snowfall. And to get ready for that, I'm going to be switching out the Johnny Bucket with the Johnny Plow, and I'm going to be installing these tire chains. I got these on eBay. They're Onka 10. The only thing you need to know when ordering tire chains for your riding mower or garden tractor is the tire size. So these are 23s by 12 by 8. So 12 is the rim size, 23 is the overall size, and 8 is the width. You want to look to see if the chains fit that particular one. In this case, there were a few options: 22 by 11, 23s, and even a 24 by 9. So there's a lot of options there. Usually if it's a riding mower, you're going to be looking at 18s and 20s, and if it's a garden tractor, you're looking at between 23 and 24. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get this thing out of the box, and we are going to have our riding mower or tractor laid out, and you want to untangle the mess that you're about to unbox and lay them out behind the tractor. That's going to get you ready. It's going to get everything set up just where you need it. And then we'll back the tractor up about halfway into that mess, and we'll be ready to start attaching it. Let's do it. As you can see here, it's just a mess inside of this. It's just a tangled mess of beautiful shiny chains. So it can be a little bit frustrating to get these apart. Oh, that's nice. I can reuse that bag. It's a heavy duty bag. But I'll go ahead and lay these out. That's what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to change the camera angle here, and we will do that on film. Now notice for a second, if you will, that one side of these chains has a hook and the other side has this very unusual looking clamp. Just to make it easier on yourself, I usually try to keep this to the outside. And you're going to want to lay these out and just cut them as flat and as wide as you can, because you're going to back your tires up over it. You want it about centered. When we back it up, if we need to make any adjustments as far as how far to one side or another we need to go, we can do that. And as you can see, I'm doing this in gravel. You can do this in the snow. You can do it on pavement. It doesn't matter. I don't know that there's any easier or harder way to go about doing this. It's just a little bit frustrating no matter what. I'll do the same with the other one, and we will move on to the next step. Okay, as you can see here, we've got them laid out. They're about lined up, they're about even, and what the next step is to roll the tractor back. In this case, I'm going to start it and actually drive it back. You can roll it if you want to pull the, or if you have a stick one, you put it in neutral. But then, like I said, we're going to get it back. They're about even, they're about evenly spaced. Roll it back and then the fun really begins. Let's do it. Right on. About halfway, about in the center, and we are ready to move on. I'll move the camera back over to this side, drop it down a little lower so that we have a better view of what has to happen next. First I'll film the outside, then I'll film the inside, give you an idea. Now I do have one thing on my tractor that I bought separately. I didn't make a video of installing it. Actually I did, but it's a long ago. And that is that. You can kind of see it. It is a rubber. Here's a picture of what it looks like off of it. You do have to remove the tire, but it's a rubber band with 4 pink clips. Those clips will take the tension and get any slack out of these chains once they're on. It's really nice so that it doesn't flop around and make a racket. It really helps. And they were about $8 extra. All right, here we go. And so next step is to drape these chains up and over, and that is what I'm going to do now. This is a pain, especially if we're using ag tires like I'm using here, because as you can see, the chain likes to get caught in the bars of the ag tires, and so it gets a little harder. But we do want to try to get these up and as snug as possible. So just kind of hold on to it with one hand, move the chains up to a good position with the other hand, and you can feel the tension release as I do that. You can see they're still sloppy down there, so I want to pull it up some more. I'm doing that. working back and forth, and I'm getting all the slack, hopefully most of the slack anyway, out of these. The tighter we get this, the less likely it's going to throw a chain. And then the back side, I'll show you this on the other one, but I'm going to move my back piece up, and I'm just going to hook it on that side anywhere I can just to hold it in place so that I can focus on doing the exact same thing. I'm getting these chains, trying to get as much slack as I can out of it. You can see that is actually working pretty well. And there we go, we've got it pretty well snugged up. Then you're going to use this hook, and let me get the camera closer in so you can see it. I'll zoom in on that. You're going to get the hook, and you're going to go through, and I think that's going to be a little bit too snug. So we'll probably try this one right here. You roll it through, you roll it back. Now I've got to get it on the other side of this chain here. There we go. You roll it through, you roll it back, you're flipping it over. And if you can get it all the way through, that's what we're aiming for. So try to get as much slack as you can out of it. It's amazing how tight it will feel and how quickly it will loosen up if it's not actually set up right. There we go. And then you're going to hook it back through. And lock it into place. I've got to get a little bit more slack out of this. Hopefully you guys can see it. I know it's not exactly camera friendly to do this job because it requires every finger in every place almost, right? And this would be a little easier without the wheel weight on, but you're much better off putting your wheel weight on first because it can be hard to get a good seat once it's installed. There we go. Let me get the camera up to show you how I have that set. And you can see, yeah, there's a wee bit of slack, but we haven't done our back yet. So that'll also be kind of snugged up when we pull on the back. You can see it takes out. But let me get the camera here and I'll show you up close. All right, so here it is up close. We took our piece, we wrapped it around, we came up through here and out the other side, right? And that's pretty snug. There is a little bit of slack, about a ½ inch, I'd say, maybe. Yeah, about a ½ inch of slack. I'm not worried about it. I am going to eventually zip tie all this so it just doesn't pop loose no matter what, because if you bump into stuff with it, it sometimes can happen, although it's rare. But I'm not going to do that yet because I still need to adjust the inside. It's going to be a little harder to show this on film, but I'm going to do my best to get it. I can see it right there. I'll get the camera zoomed in. So let me show you the back side and then we'll finish this up. Okay, back here you can see here is the hook, and that's all it is. You just get it as snug as you can and hook it in. In this case, that's pretty much where I'm at. I do have more slack on this side than I do on the other side, but for right now we're going to go with that and see. I have 3 links. The other side I had 3 links, so that's pretty equal. Now, some kits will have a little piece of wire that goes around with 4 or 5 springs that hook randomly throughout this. But like I said, on mine, I opted to get these rubber pieces right here. I'm gonna pull it off right now. And again, here's a picture of where I got it on Amazon. But the process is the same. I'm gonna hook in a couple of locations, and the other 2 are gonna be a little harder to do. I'm gonna hook in there, and that is gonna pull these chains tight so they don't do this as they go around, because eventually they'll kind of get offset. You'll get 2 that end up bunching up. With this tension on here, that'll stop that. So let me do that. I'm going to do the other side. I'm not going to film that, and we'll wrap this thing up. Okay, here we are on the other side. The process is the same. We're going to start with our sides that don't have anything. We're going to lean them up under here, which can be a bit of a bear. Kind of wiggle them into place, but then we've got all this that we have to pull up and get them over the eggs. If you're using turf tires, this won't be as big an issue at all because there won't be all these places for those chains to catch on. But it is ultra important if you're using ATV tires, anything that has good knobs, to make sure that we've got the slack out of it, because you can see down here, there's a ton that just hasn't moved. There we go. A little bit of slop down there, but the chain itself is tight. So I'd say that's good. Move the camera up. I'm going to hook this back chain We went 3 links before. Let's try that again on this side and see if it works for us. And while that's supporting the back side, we can do the same. We're going to move these chains up, holding everything in place, right? Trying to get as much of that slack out as possible. Once we feel like we've got about as much out as we can, then we'll move the camera again and we'll get ready to do that hook. I'm going to take this chain here. I got 3 links, right? So I'm going to move the chain to that side, pull it around there, flip this over, start to get a little slack in it, flip that over and run it through. And see how that is? Hopefully you can see how that is. See it right there? Now I have to get the hook here back behind this and hopefully through it. Come on. Hopefully y'all can see it. There we go, like that. And that's all she wrote, right? Now the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to snug that down on the backside like I did, but another thing you can do here to kind of keep stuff from moving around is, well, maybe you want to run this chain so that it can't really move all that much. I don't know if this actually helps or not, but I usually use 2 or 3 zip ties just to hold my pieces together. You know, 1 on each side on the outside, 1 on each side on the inside, plus that rubber piece. I've only had 1 chain come off while plowing snow, and it was probably my fault. I probably hit something I shouldn't have, knocked it loose and wasn't paying attention. So there, you see it's kind of stuck there now. Hopefully y'all can see that. Okay, I'm gonna move to the inside and make sure everything's snug. It should be. We counted 3 and 3, and then I'll put that spacer on and we will wrap this thing up. There you go. You can see I've got my rubber holder on that side and on that side as well. So that should be it. I'll take it for a test drive and double check that nothing comes apart or has moved. These I will also zip tie. I don't want those beating and banging on the inside of my tires, so I'll take any slack and zip tie those up. And that will wrap this baby up all together. Not a tough job. It took me about 30 minutes, including filming. And of course, it's a whole lot easier to do this in the fall than it is in the middle of a snowstorm, but I've done it both ways. Well, that's it, my friends. They are on, they are tight. No flopping around. Yeah, there's a little bit of slack in some of these when they get in between the arms, but I'm not worried about that in between these bars. What I am worried about is this tight? Is the backside tight? They are. This is the best traction upgrade you can get. Putting ag tires on certainly helps, but it is no substitute for a good set of chains, especially in snow or real bad mud. Add some wheel weights and you are ready to do just about anything with your riding mower or garden tractor. That'll do it for today, my friends. Take care.